Welcome back to the Mind Shelf, where we explore the psychology behind human connection and communication mastery. Today, we're diving deep into the specific habits that transform ordinary communicators into magnetic personalities, those rare individuals who naturally draw others in and leave lasting impressions. If you've ever wondered why some people effortlessly command attention and build meaningful relationships, while others struggle to be heard, this comprehensive guide will reveal the scientifically backed communication habits that create that irresistible magnetic pull. Stay with us as we unlock the secrets to becoming someone others genuinely want to be around. Communication habits that make you magnetic. In a world saturated with constant chatter and digital noise, truly magnetic communicators have become increasingly rare and valuable. These individuals possess something that goes beyond charisma or natural talent. They've cultivated specific habits that create an almost gravitational pull in their interactions. Whether in professional settings, social gatherings, or intimate conversations, magnetic communicators leave people feeling energized, understood, and eager for more interaction. The science behind magnetic communication reveals that it's not about being the loudest voice in the room or having perfect eloquence. Instead, it's about mastering subtle yet powerful habits that create psychological comfort, emotional resonance, and genuine connection. These habits can be learned, practiced, and perfected by anyone willing to invest in their communication skills. This comprehensive exploration will unveil the specific behaviors, mindsets, and techniques that separate magnetic communicators from the rest. From the neuroscience of attraction to practical daily applications, we'll examine how small shifts in your communication approach can create profound changes in how others perceive and respond to you. The psychology of magnetic communication. Magnetic communication operates on multiple psychological levels simultaneously. At its core, it taps into fundamental human needs: the desire to be heard, understood, valued, and connected. When someone consistently meets these needs through their communication style, they naturally become someone others gravitate toward. Research in social psychology reveals that magnetic communicators activate what scientists call the approach response in others, a neurological tendency to move closer, both physically and emotionally, to sources of positive stimulation. This response is triggered by specific behavioral cues that signal safety, competence, and genuine interest. The magnetic quality emerges from a combination of authenticity, emotional intelligence, and strategic awareness. Unlike manipulation or artificial charm, magnetic communication creates mutual benefit. Both parties leave the interaction feeling better than when they entered it. This reciprocal enhancement is what creates the lasting impact that magnetic communicators are known for. Understanding this psychological foundation is crucial because it explains why certain techniques work and others fall flat. Magnetic communication isn't about following a script. It's about embodying principles that naturally create positive responses in human psychology. Habit 1. The power of genuine curiosity. The first and perhaps most fundamental habit of magnetic communicators is their authentic curiosity about others. This goes far beyond polite small talk or surface-level questions. Magnetic communicators possess a genuine fascination with the human experience and demonstrate this through their interactions. This curiosity manifests in several specific ways. They ask follow-up questions that show they're actually processing what someone has said, rather than simply waiting for their turn to speak. When someone mentions they're a teacher, instead of immediately sharing their own educational experiences, a magnetic communicator might ask, "What grade do you teach? What made you choose that age group?" This type of questioning demonstrates investment in understanding the other person's unique perspective. The neurological impact of genuine curiosity cannot be overstated. When someone feels truly seen and heard, their brain releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, which creates feelings of connection and trust. This biochemical response is why conversations with magnetic communicators often feel unexpectedly intimate and meaningful, even when covering seemingly ordinary topics. Magnetic communicators also demonstrate curiosity through their body language. They lean in slightly when someone is speaking, maintain appropriate eye contact, and use facial expressions that mirror the emotional tone of what they're hearing. These nonverbal cues signal that they're fully present and engaged, which encourages others to share more openly. The habit of curiosity extends beyond individual conversations. Magnetic communicators often remember details from previous interactions, bringing them up naturally in future conversations. This demonstrates that their interest wasn't performative. They genuinely care enough to remember and follow up on what others have shared. Developing genuine curiosity requires shifting your mindset from self-focused to other-focused during conversations. Instead of thinking about what you want to say next, practice becoming fascinated by what the other person is revealing about their thoughts, experiences, and perspectives. Habit 2. Mastering the art of active listening. While many people hear words, magnetic communicators truly listen. Active listening is a sophisticated skill that involves multiple levels of attention and response. It's the difference between being physically present and being mentally and emotionally engaged. Active listening begins with eliminating distractions. Magnetic communicators put away their phones, face the speaker directly, and create a pocket of focused attention. This might seem basic, but in our distracted world, giving someone your complete attention has become a rare and precious gift. The technique involves listening for multiple layers of communication simultaneously. Beyond the literal content of what someone is saying, magnetic communicators tune into emotional undertones, unspoken concerns, and implicit messages. They notice when someone's words don't quite match their tone or body language, and they respond to these subtleties appropriately. Effective active listening also includes strategic use of silence. Magnetic communicators understand that silence creates space for deeper thoughts to emerge. Instead of rushing to fill every pause, they allow moments of quiet that encourage others to elaborate or reflect more deeply on what they've shared. The mirroring aspect of active listening involves subtly reflecting back what you've heard, both emotionally and informationally. This might sound like, "It sounds like that promotion meant more to you than just the extra responsibility. There was something personally validating about finally being recognized for your contributions." This type of response demonstrates that you've not only heard the facts, but understood the emotional significance. Magnetic communicators also ask clarifying questions that deepen understanding rather than simply gathering more information. Questions like, "What was that experience like for you?" or "How did that change your perspective?" invite the speaker to explore their own thoughts and feelings more fully. The transformative power of active listening lies in its ability to make others feel valued and understood. When someone experiences this level of attention and engagement, they associate those positive feelings with the listener, creating the magnetic pull that draws them back for future interactions. Habit 3. Emotional calibration and attunement. Magnetic communicators possess an almost supernatural ability to read and respond to emotional states. This skill, known as emotional attunement, allows them to adjust their communication style to match and complement the emotional needs of each situation. Emotional calibration begins with acute awareness of verbal and nonverbal emotional cues. Magnetic communicators notice subtle changes in tone, pace, facial expressions, and body posture that indicate shifts in emotional state. They can detect when someone is becoming uncomfortable, excited, frustrated, or inspired, often before the person themselves is fully aware of the emotional shift. This awareness translates into responsive communication adjustments. If someone seems overwhelmed, a magnetic communicator might slow their pace and lower their voice. If someone appears excited about a topic, they might increase their energy and enthusiasm to match. This emotional mirroring creates a sense of synchrony that feels natural and comfortable. The skill extends to knowing when to challenge versus when to support. Sometimes emotional attunement means providing gentle encouragement when someone lacks confidence. Other times, it means offering a different perspective when someone needs to be challenged to grow. Magnetic communicators intuitively sense which approach will be most beneficial in each moment. Emotional attunement also involves managing your own emotional state to remain a stable, positive influence in interactions. Magnetic communicators don't allow others' negative emotions to derail their own emotional equilibrium. Instead, they maintain a centered presence that provides an anchor for others during turbulent moments. The practice includes validating emotions without necessarily agreeing with the thoughts or behaviors that accompany them. A magnetic communicator might say, "I can see you're really frustrated about this situation," without endorsing any potentially problematic responses to that frustration. This validation creates safety while maintaining boundaries. Developing emotional attunement requires practicing mindfulness and emotional awareness both in yourself and others. Start by simply noticing emotional states without immediately trying to fix or change them. This observational practice builds the foundation for more sophisticated emotional responsiveness. Habit 4: strategic vulnerability and authenticity. One of the most counterintuitive aspects of magnetic communication is the strategic use of vulnerability. While many people believe they need to project strength and competence at all times, magnetic communicators understand that calculated openness actually increases their attractiveness and trustworthiness. Strategic vulnerability involves sharing appropriate personal information that humanizes you without oversharing or making others uncomfortable. It's the difference between saying, "I sometimes struggle with perfectionism," versus detailing every anxiety-inducing situation you've ever experienced. The timing and context of vulnerable sharing matter enormously. Magnetic communicators gauge the depth of relationship and appropriateness of setting before deciding how much to reveal. They might share a small struggle with a new acquaintance but reserve deeper vulnerabilities for established relationships. This authenticity creates reciprocal openness. When someone shares something genuine about themselves, it's psychologically permission for others to do the same. Magnetic communicators use this principle to deepen conversations and build more meaningful connections. The vulnerability must be genuine, not performed. People intuitively sense when someone is being manipulatively open versus authentically human. Magnetic communicators share from a place of self-acceptance rather than neediness or attention-seeking. Strategic vulnerability also includes admitting when you don't know something or when you've made a mistake. This honesty, rather than diminishing credibility, actually increases it. People trust those who can acknowledge their limitations and learn from their errors. The practice extends to showing genuine emotion when appropriate. Magnetic communicators don't suppress natural responses like excitement, concern, or disappointment. They express these emotions in ways that add depth to interactions without overwhelming others. Balancing vulnerability with strength is crucial. Magnetic communicators share challenges while also demonstrating resilience and growth. They might say, "I went through a difficult period last year, but it taught me so much about what really matters to me." This approach shows humanity while also displaying personal development. Habit 5: the art of meaningful questions. Magnetic communicators have mastered the art of asking questions that unlock deeper levels of conversation and connection. Their questions go beyond gathering information. They invite reflection, spark curiosity, and encourage others to explore their own thoughts and feelings more deeply. The most powerful questions are open-ended and thought-provoking. Instead of asking, "Did you like your vacation?" a magnetic communicator might ask, "What was the most surprising thing about your trip?" Or, "What part of the experience are you still thinking about?" These questions require more than yes/no answers and often lead to more engaging discussions. Timing is crucial in meaningful questioning. Magnetic communicators don't rapid-fire questions like an interview. Instead, they allow conversations to breathe, asking follow-up questions based on what's been shared and creating natural flow between topics. The best questions often focus on experiences, feelings, and insights, rather than just facts. Questions like, "What was that like for you?" or "How did that change your thinking?" invite people to share their internal experience, which creates more intimate and memorable conversations. Magnetic communicators also ask questions that help others discover new things about themselves. Questions like, "What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?" Or, "What's something you believe that you didn't believe 5 years ago?" encourage introspection and often lead to surprising revelations. The practice includes asking about values, motivations, and aspirations. Questions about what someone finds fulfilling, what drives them, or what they hope to accomplish tap into deeper aspects of personality and create more meaningful exchanges. Magnetic communicators also use questions to show appreciation and recognition. Asking, "How did you develop that skill?" or "What inspired that approach?" acknowledges someone's expertise while inviting them to share their knowledge and experience. The key is balancing curiosity with respect for boundaries. Magnetic communicators can sense when someone isn't ready to go deeper and adjust accordingly, never pushing beyond comfort levels while still encouraging meaningful dialogue. Habit 6. Storytelling that connects and inspires. Storytelling is a fundamental tool of magnetic communicators, but their stories serve specific purposes beyond entertainment. They use narrative strategically to illustrate points, share experiences, and create emotional connections with their audience. Effective storytelling begins with relevance. Magnetic communicators don't tell stories just because they're interesting. They share narratives that relate directly to the conversation at hand and add value to the discussion. Their stories illuminate universal themes while maintaining personal authenticity. The structure of magnetic storytelling includes clear beginnings, middles, and ends, with emphasis on the transformation or learning that occurred. Rather than simply recounting events, they focus on the meaning and impact of experiences, helping others connect with the emotional journey. Magnetic communicators also use stories to make abstract concepts concrete. Instead of lecturing about perseverance, they might share a specific experience that demonstrates the principle in action. This approach makes ideas more memorable and relatable. The best stories include vulnerability and growth. Magnetic communicators aren't afraid to share challenges, failures, or moments of uncertainty, as long as they also communicate what was learned or how they grew from the experience. This combination of struggle and wisdom makes stories both inspiring and authentic. Pacing is crucial in magnetic storytelling. These communicators use pauses, emphasis, and vocal variety to maintain engagement and highlight important moments. They understand that how a story is told is often as important as the content itself. Interactive storytelling involves the audience through questions, references to shared experiences, or invitations to relate the story to their own lives. This engagement transforms passive listening into active participation. Magnetic communicators also know when not to tell stories. They read their audience and situation carefully, ensuring that their narratives enhance rather than dominate conversations. They're generous with speaking time and never use stories to monopolize attention. Habit 7. Positive energy management and emotional contagion. Magnetic communicators understand that emotional states are contagious and take responsibility for the energy they bring to interactions. They consistently radiate positive, calm, and confident energy that others naturally want to absorb and be around. This positive energy isn't forced enthusiasm or fake cheerfulness. Instead, it's a grounded sense of well-being and optimism that comes from inner work and intentional energy management. Magnetic communicators cultivate this state through practices like meditation, exercise, gratitude, and purposeful living. The concept of emotional contagion explains why some people naturally lift the mood of a room while others drain it. Magnetic communicators are conscious of this phenomenon and work to be sources of positive contagion. Their presence alone often improves the atmosphere of their environment. Energy management includes being mindful of your own emotional state before entering interactions. Magnetic communicators take time to center themselves, release negative emotions from previous experiences, and approach each conversation with fresh, positive energy. This doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring negative emotions. Instead, magnetic communicators process these feelings appropriately and don't allow them to contaminate their interactions with others. They maintain emotional boundaries that protect both themselves and others. The practice extends to responding positively to others' energy as well. When someone shares good news, magnetic communicators respond with genuine enthusiasm. When someone shares struggles, they offer appropriate support without absorbing the negative energy themselves. Magnetic communicators also use their positive energy strategically to help others shift their emotional states. Through their calm presence, optimistic perspective, and encouraging words, they can help lift others out of negative spirals and see new possibilities. This energy management requires ongoing attention and practice. Magnetic communicators are intentional about the activities, relationships, and environments that support their positive energy, and they're disciplined about avoiding or limiting exposure to energy drains when possible. Habit 8. Nonverbal communication mastery. The majority of communication happens through nonverbal channels, and magnetic communicators are masters of body language, facial expressions, and spatial dynamics. Their nonverbal communication consistently supports and enhances their verbal messages. Posture plays a crucial role in magnetic presence. These communicators maintain open, confident postures that signal accessibility and self-assurance. They avoid defensive positions like crossed arms or turned-away bodies, instead positioning themselves to invite connection and conversation. Eye contact is used strategically and appropriately. Magnetic communicators maintain comfortable levels of eye contact that show engagement without being intense or uncomfortable. They understand cultural variations in eye contact norms and adjust accordingly. Facial expressions mirror and complement their verbal communication. Magnetic communicators use genuine expressions that match their words and emotions, avoiding the disconnect that occurs when facial expressions don't align with spoken content. Spatial awareness includes understanding personal space, cultural norms, and situational appropriateness. Magnetic communicators position themselves at comfortable distances that neither invade personal space nor create unnecessary barriers to connection. Gesture use enhances rather than distracts from verbal communication. These communicators use purposeful, controlled gestures that emphasize points and add energy to their communication without becoming overwhelming or distracting. Voice modulation includes pace, tone, volume, and emphasis. Magnetic communicators vary these elements strategically to maintain interest, convey emotion, and ensure their message is received as intended. They understand that monotone delivery kills engagement regardless of content quality. Mirroring and matching others' nonverbal styles, when done subtly and naturally, creates unconscious rapport. Magnetic communicators may unconsciously adopt similar postures or energy levels to those they're speaking with, creating a sense of synchrony and connection. Habit 9. Conflict resolution and difficult conversations. Magnetic communicators don't avoid difficult conversations. They approach them with skills that often turn potential conflicts into opportunities for deeper understanding and stronger relationships. Their approach to challenging discussions sets them apart from those who either avoid conflict or handle it destructively. The foundation of their approach is remaining calm and centered during emotional discussions. Magnetic communicators don't allow others' intensity to trigger their own reactive responses. Instead, they maintain emotional regulation that provides stability during turbulent conversations. They focus on understanding rather than winning. When disagreements arise, magnetic communicators prioritize comprehending the other person's perspective over proving their own point. This approach often leads to solutions that address underlying needs rather than surface-level positions. The technique includes separating people from problems. Instead of attacking character or personality, magnetic communicators address specific behaviors or situations. They might say, "I'm concerned about the impact of this decision," rather than, "You always make poor choices." Active listening becomes even more crucial during difficult conversations. Magnetic communicators make extra effort to truly hear and understand what others are communicating, especially the emotions and concerns beneath their words. They use I statements to express their own feelings and perspectives without blame or accusation. This approach reduces defensiveness and keeps conversations productive rather than deteriorating into personal attacks. Finding common ground is a priority throughout difficult discussions. Magnetic communicators actively look for areas of agreement, shared values, or mutual goals that can serve as bridges across disagreements. When emotions run high, magnetic communicators know how to pause, breathe, and reset the conversation. They might suggest taking a break, acknowledging emotions, or returning to shared objectives to refocus the discussion constructively. Habit 10. Genuine appreciation and recognition. Magnetic communicators are masters of genuine appreciation and recognition. They consistently notice and acknowledge the positive qualities, efforts, and contributions of others in ways that feel authentic and meaningful, rather than flattery or manipulation. Their appreciation is specific and detailed rather than generic. Instead of saying "good job," a magnetic communicator might say, "I really appreciated how you took the time to explain that concept clearly. It showed you care about making sure everyone understands, not just getting through the material." Timing matters in recognition. Magnetic communicators offer appreciation promptly when they notice something positive, rather than waiting for formal occasions or performance reviews. This immediate acknowledgement has greater impact and demonstrates active attention to others' contributions. They recognize effort as much as results. Understanding that people need acknowledgement for their hard work, even when outcomes aren't perfect, magnetic communicators appreciate the process, learning, and growth that occur regardless of final results. The recognition extends to personal qualities and character traits, not just professional accomplishments. Magnetic communicators might acknowledge someone's kindness, creativity, persistence, or integrity in ways that help others see their own positive attributes. They avoid comparison-based appreciation. Rather than saying someone is better than others, magnetic communicators focus on the absolute value of what someone brings without creating competition or hierarchy. Public recognition is balanced with private appreciation. Magnetic communicators understand when to acknowledge someone publicly versus privately, ensuring their appreciation enhances rather than embarrasses the recipient. Their appreciation creates upward spirals of positivity. When people feel genuinely valued and recognized, they're more likely to continue positive behaviors and extend similar recognition to others, creating ripple effects of positivity. Habit 11. Intellectual humility and continuous learning. Magnetic communicators embody intellectual humility, the recognition that they don't know everything and that others have valuable knowledge and perspectives to offer. This humility makes them incredibly attractive to others because it creates space for mutual learning and growth. They approach conversations with a learner's mindset, genuinely curious about what others can teach them. This attitude makes others feel valued for their knowledge and experience, creating positive associations with interactions. When they don't know something, magnetic communicators admit it openly and ask questions to learn more. This honesty about knowledge gaps actually increases credibility rather than diminishing it, as people appreciate and trust those who can acknowledge their limitations. They change their minds when presented with compelling evidence or reasoning. Instead of stubbornly defending positions, magnetic communicators demonstrate flexibility and growth, showing others that conversations with them can be productive and meaningful. The practice includes asking others about their expertise and experiences. Magnetic communicators recognize that everyone has areas of knowledge and unique perspectives that can enrich their own understanding. They share their own learning journey, including mistakes, changes in thinking, and ongoing questions. This transparency about their intellectual development makes them more relatable and inspiring to others. Magnetic communicators also create learning opportunities in conversations by asking thought-provoking questions, introducing new ideas, or connecting concepts in novel ways that stimulate intellectual growth for all participants. Their humility extends to receiving feedback gracefully. They thank others for corrections, suggestions, or different perspectives, treating these as gifts rather than threats to their ego or credibility. Habit 12. Presence and mindful engagement. Perhaps the most fundamental habit of magnetic communicators is their ability to be fully present in each interaction. In our distracted, multitasking world, giving someone your complete attention has become both rare and powerful. Presence begins with eliminating external distractions. Magnetic communicators put away devices, face the person they're speaking with, and create a bubble of focused attention that makes others feel like the most important person in that moment. Mental presence is equally important. These communicators don't allow their minds to wander to past events or future concerns during conversations. They practice bringing their attention back to the current moment and current conversation whenever they notice mental drift. Emotional presence involves being aware of and responsive to the emotional tone of interactions. Magnetic communicators attune to others' emotional states and respond appropriately, whether that means matching enthusiasm or providing calm support. They practice what mindfulness teachers call beginner's mind, approaching each conversation and each person as if encountering them for the first time. This prevents assumptions and preconceptions from interfering with genuine connection. Physical presence includes body language that signals engagement and availability. Magnetic communicators use open postures, appropriate eye contact, and responsive facial expressions that show they're mentally and emotionally available. The practice extends to transitional moments. Magnetic communicators take brief moments between conversations to center themselves, release the previous interaction, and prepare to be fully present for the next person. They also know how to gracefully exit conversations when their presence is needed elsewhere rather than being physically present but mentally absent. This respect for both their own attention and others' time maintains the quality of their interactions. The compound effect of magnetic communication. The true power of these habits emerges through their compound effect. When practiced consistently over time, they create a reputation and presence that naturally attracts others. People begin to seek out magnetic communicators for advice, collaboration, and companionship because interactions with them are consistently positive and enriching. This magnetic quality isn't built overnight. It requires consistent practice and genuine commitment to serving others through communication. The habits must become natural responses rather than performed techniques, which happens only through repeated, intentional practice. The compound effect also includes the personal growth that occurs through practicing these habits. As you become more skilled at understanding others, managing emotions, asking meaningful questions, and maintaining presence, you simultaneously develop greater self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and interpersonal effectiveness. These skills create positive feedback loops. As people respond more positively to your communication, you receive more opportunities to practice and refine your abilities. Success builds upon success, creating an upward spiral of improvement and magnetism. The habits also reinforce each other. Genuine curiosity enhances active listening, which improves emotional attunement, which increases the effectiveness of storytelling, and so on. The integration of these practices creates a communication style that is greater than the sum of its parts. Practical implementation strategies. Transforming your communication from ordinary to magnetic requires intentional practice and systematic development. Begin by selecting one or two habits to focus on intensively rather than trying to implement all 12 simultaneously. Start with foundational habits like presence and active listening, as these form the basis for most other magnetic communication skills. Practice these basics until they become natural, then gradually layer in additional habits. Create practice opportunities in low-stakes situations. Use casual conversations with family members, friends, or colleagues to experiment with new techniques without the pressure of critical interactions. Keep a communication journal to track your progress and observations. Note what works well, what feels authentic to you, and how others respond to different approaches. This reflection accelerates learning and improvement. Seek feedback from trusted friends or colleagues about changes they notice in your communication style. Others often observe shifts in our behavior before we recognize them ourselves. Study magnetic communicators in your own life and in media. Observe their techniques, but focus on understanding the principles behind their effectiveness rather than copying their specific styles. Practice self-compassion during the learning process. Developing magnetic communication skills takes time, and you'll have setbacks and awkward moments. Treat these as learning opportunities rather than failures. Overcoming common obstacles. Several obstacles commonly interfere with developing magnetic communication skills. Social anxiety can make it difficult to focus on others when you're worried about your own performance. The solution involves gradual exposure to social situations combined with techniques for managing anxiety. Perfectionism can paralyze communication by creating fear of saying the wrong thing. Remember that magnetic communication is about connection, not perfection. People are drawn to authenticity, including authentically human mistakes and imperfections. Self-consciousness about trying new techniques can make communication feel forced or artificial. Start with small changes and focus on the principles behind techniques, rather than rigid adherence to specific methods. Past negative experiences in communication can create defensive patterns that interfere with openness and vulnerability. Healing these patterns may require professional support, but acknowledging their impact is the first step toward change. Cultural differences can affect the application of these habits. What feels magnetic in one culture might feel inappropriate in another. Adapt these principles to fit your cultural context while maintaining their underlying spirit. Time constraints in busy lifestyles can make it challenging to practice presence and deep listening. Start with brief but focused interactions, gradually building your capacity for sustained attention and engagement. The ripple effect of magnetic communication. When you develop truly magnetic communication skills, The impact extends far beyond your personal interactions. You become a catalyst for positive change in your family, workplace, and community. Others begin to model your communication style, spreading the habits and principles to their own relationships. This creates expanding circles of improved communication and stronger connections throughout your social network. Your enhanced ability to connect with others opens doors personally and professionally. People want to work with, befriend, and collaborate with magnetic communicators, creating opportunities that wouldn't otherwise exist. The skills also improve your ability to influence positive change. When people trust and feel connected to you, they're more receptive to new ideas, feedback, and suggestions for improvement. Your relationships deepen and become more satisfying. The superficial interactions that characterize much of modern communication are replaced by meaningful connections that enrich your life and the lives of others. The confidence that develops through effective communication spreads to other areas of life. As you become more skilled at connecting with others, you often discover increased self-confidence, leadership abilities, and overall life satisfaction. Conclusion. Magnetic communication is not a mysterious talent possessed by a fortunate few. It's a set of learnable skills that anyone can develop through conscious practice and genuine commitment to serving others through communication. The 12 habits explored in this comprehensive guide provide a roadmap for transformation from ordinary to magnetic communication. The journey requires patience, practice, and persistence. Like any significant skill development, progress comes through consistent effort over time rather than dramatic overnight changes. However, the investment in developing these communication habits pays dividends throughout your personal and professional life. Remember that the goal isn't to manipulate or impress others, but to create genuine connections that benefit everyone involved. Magnetic communication serves others by making them feel heard, valued, and understood. This service-oriented approach is what makes the magnetism sustainable and authentic. As you implement these habits, focus on progress rather than perfection. Each conversation provides an opportunity to practice and improve, building your skills gradually but steadily toward true communication magnetism. The world needs more magnetic communicators, people who can bridge divides, build understanding, and create positive connections in an increasingly fragmented society. By developing these skills, you not only enhance your own life, but contribute to the healing and connection our world desperately needs. Start today with presence and genuine curiosity. Listen deeply to the next person you speak with. Ask meaningful questions. Share appropriate vulnerability. These small beginnings will grow into the magnetic communication skills that transform relationships and enrich lives. Your communication style is one of the most powerful tools you possess for creating positive impact in the world. Use it wisely, develop it intentionally, and watch as your magnetic presence begins to attract the connections, opportunities, and relationships that align with your deepest values and aspirations. Thank you for joining us on the Mind Shelf for this deep dive into the communication habits that create true magnetism. These 12 powerful habits aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical tools you can begin implementing immediately to transform your relationships and interactions. Remember, magnetic communication isn't about perfection. It's about genuine connection and authentic engagement with others. Start with 1 or 2 habits that resonate most with you, practice them consistently, and watch as your ability to connect and influence grows naturally. If this content has provided value in your personal development journey, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe to the Mind Shelf for more insights into psychology, communication, and personal growth. Your support helps us continue creating content that makes a real difference in people's lives. Until next time, keep growing, keep connecting, and remember, Your authentic voice has the power to create magnetic connections wherever you go.